Hello there and thanks for joining me. I'm digital artist Aaron Rutten, and in this video I'm going to show off some of the submissions for my July Group Art Challenge. The theme for the July Group Art Challenge was a wildcard, and so people were able to submit any sort of subject they wanted to in any sort of style, any sort of genre. So let's go ahead and take a look at what was submitted. First up, we have a really nice painting of a flower being visited by some pollinators. This was painted by Thomas Mathis. And I have to say I'm really impressed with this one. The color scheme is really nice, the colors are all very complementary, and that focal effect where some things are in focus and some things are out of focus really gives a lot of depth to this piece. So I have to say I really like this painting, and this is top-notch stuff, Tom. Next up we have another painting by yet another Tom, and this is by Tom Iverson. It's called Wandering Wolf. And again, the color scheme is really nice here. It's mostly monochromatic, black and white, but the wolf's eyes are yellow and they kind of stand out. And so there's that nice balance between a lot of black and white and just a little hint of color. There's definitely a nice story going on where this wolf is wandering around at night. Who knows what kind of trouble he's going to get into? Only Tom knows that. But overall, I think this turned out great. Thanks for sharing, Tom. Next up is a painting by Steve Gunnery of Steve's Poodle. I really like the expression that the poodle has going on there. Dogs always kind of look bummed out when they're just laying there, even though there's probably absolutely nothing wrong with them. The style for this is really appealing. The dog is very realistic, but the background is almost kind of simplified so it doesn't distract too much from the main subject, and I really like that. It almost feels kind of cartoony, but I don't mean that as a negative thing. I just mean that the colors are very simple and bright, and the outlines surrounding the main subject in the background kind of give it that cartoon comic book feel, which I really like. Excellent job, Steve, and thanks for sharing. Up next, we have a wonderful landscape painting by Susan Schwartz, and this is a sunset at night. The sun's almost nearly gone all the way down, and so there's a lot of really nice, cool colors surrounding just that little hint of warm color where you can still see the sun. The rippled reflections in the water are a really nice touch, and there's little islands of color surrounded by a whole bunch of really dark black, which gives the piece a lot of contrast and really makes it pop out. Nicely done, Susan, and thanks for letting me use this in the Group Art Challenge video. These next three paintings were not part of the Group Art Challenge per se, but I thought I'd show them off anyways. These are three submissions from my newly released course called Thick Paint Mountain, which teaches you how to paint a mountain landscape using the Corel Painter 2018 thick paint brushes. First up is a mountain painting by Tom Iverson, and I really like all the additions that Tom added to this. And so you can see down at the bottom, there's some little ducks floating in the water. He added some pine trees rather than the kind of trees that I put in my example. And the tree line in the distance is more detailed and the reflection in the water is much clearer. So that really makes this piece stand out as its own composition. And I know this piece will be an inspiration to others who haven't tried this course yet. And moving on to Glenson Jones's version of the Thick Paint Mountain, you can see some similarities between this painting and Tom Iverson's painting. But again, Glenson tweaked it and he made it his own so that it looks like its own unique composition rather than being a copy of the example that I was painting. And I really appreciate that when my students do that, because that's the point of these courses, is to learn techniques such as how to paint a mountain or how to paint trees. But it doesn't mean that you have to paint the exact same mountain that I paint. You can create all kinds of different mountains and adapt those techniques to suit your own favorite subject matter. Everything in this composition looks nice and painterly. It almost looks like you can reach out and touch it and really feel the paint. So I'd say you really nailed this one, Glenson. Thanks for sharing. And last but not least, we have Richard Stalter's Thick Paint Mountain. And just like the two previous examples, Richard changed it up too, and he made this his own unique composition. So the clouds are a bit different, the trees are a bit different. There's a bear who looks like he's either getting a drink or he's about to catch a fish. The tree over on the right is much more detailed than the tree that I added in my composition, and there's a little bit of grassy land that it's standing on there. Now Tom and Richard must be on the same wavelength here because they did their background trees very similarly, and they made that mirror reflection as well, which really makes the piece stand out. I kind of feel like maybe I was being lazy when I painted my water. But after seeing Tom and Richard's painting, I probably should have done the mirror reflection because that looks really good. So as always, I'm very impressed with the way this turned out, Richard. Thanks for sharing. So there you go. Those are the submissions for the July Group Art Challenge. Thanks again to all the artists who submitted work. If you're interested in getting in on the August Group Art Challenge, you can get all the details for that at patreon.com/AaronRutten. If you enjoyed looking at the artwork in this video, take a quick second to support the artists who made it by clicking the like button. And if you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. I have a lot more digital art videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.